Welcome to Easy English, your go-to channel for improving your English and life.
Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling something really noticeable, something that strikes you the moment you visit Japan. Just how incredibly clean it often is. We've been digging into, what actually makes this happen, pulling together different perspectives and research.
Yeah, it's one of those things that makes you wonder.
Right. So our mission today is to go beyond just saying, oh, it's clean, and really get into the layers behind it, the culture, the habits, the systems.
There's a lot more going on than just, efficient street sweepers.
Definitely. Get ready, because we're going to uncover some genuinely fascinating stuff, maybe a few things that'll surprise you.
It's a topic that really sparks curiosity, especially if you've been there. And what's interesting is how it feels less like a chore list and more just part of the rhythm of life.
Okay, so let's start at the foundation, because everything seems to point back to some really deep cultural roots. There's this strong connection to traditional beliefs, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. You can definitely see links to Shintoism. There's a core emphasis on purity, and that means physically clean, but also spiritually clean.
Purity, right.
Yeah, there's this idea called kigar, which is like impurity or pollution. And then there's hara, which are these purification rituals. They're key to maintaining harmony.
Like washing your hands at a shrine.
Exactly. Washing hands and mouth before entering a shrine, or sometimes sprinkling salt. It's all about cleansing yourself, cleansing the space.
Huh. So it's not just about, germs and hygiene in the modern sense. It's tied up with feeling spiritually okay, almost.
Precisely. And that spiritual focus kind of elevates cleanliness. It becomes a virtue, not just tidiness.
How does that big spiritual idea connect down to, someone not dropping a candy wrapper on the pavement?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Because cleanliness is seen as a virtue, cleaning itself becomes an act of respect. Respect for yourself, for other people, for the space itself.
Yeah.
And, Buddhism reinforces this too. You hear about monks using cleaning as a sort of meditation, a discipline. That view is kind of seeped into the general culture, so cleaning isn't just a boring chore, it's more mindful, respectful.
That shift from chore to, practice or virtue, that feels really important. It changes the whole motivation behind it.
It really does.
Okay, so let's talk about how these ideas get passed on, especially from a young age. Education comes up a lot.
This is probably where those habits get locked in most effectively.
Yeah, the Suji practice in schools, where the students themselves clean the classrooms, the hallways, even the bathrooms, right?
Yep, they do. And it's easy to think, oh, they're just saving money on cleaners.
Right, that's the obvious assumption.
But the real point seems to be about instilling this deep sense of responsibility, ownership of their shared space.
So they learn to respect the places they use every day. By actually doing the cleaning, they learn what it takes to keep things clean.
Exactly. It builds habits that just become second nature. It's teaching discipline, community involvement. It's part of the curriculum, really. Cleanliness is framed as a shared duty. Everyone chips in.
It really builds that collective feeling that the state of your classroom or your street reflects on everyone. Which brings us to something that feels, well, totally backwards to a lot of visitors. The lack of public trash cans.
Yeah, it's striking, isn't it?
You walk down these spotless streets and you think, where does the garbage go?
It's a major difference from many places. And the reason it works, generally, is that people are just expected to carry their trash with them.
Hold on to it.
Yeah, wrappers, bottles, whatever. You hold on to it until you get home, or find an appropriate bin, maybe at a convenience store or a train station.
That ties right back to that personal responsibility idea we were talking about. You don't just dump your problem in a public bin, you manage your own stuff. But what makes people actually do that? Is it just everyone being really virtuous, or is there, social pressure involved?
Yeah. Oh, there's definitely a powerful social element. Japanese society really values harmony, communal well-being. So there's this strong, usually unspoken expectation. Keep things clean for the group.
So littering isn't just messy, it's kind of disrespectful, antisocial.
Yeah, it can definitely be seen that way. Disrespectful to others, to the shared space. And that social pressure, that desire not to, cause trouble or stand out negatively, that's a really effective motivator. It's not usually people yelling at you. It's just you feel the expectation.
The community itself kind of keeps things in line. Okay, let's shift gears a bit to the practical side. the infrastructure that makes this possible, especially waste management.
Right. The waste system is famously detailed. Sorting your garbage is serious business.
How detailed are we talking?
Very. You've got burnables, non-burnables, different kinds of plastics, paper, cans, bottles, PET bottles specifically, batteries, bulky items. It can get really specific depending on the municipality.
Wow. And people are expected to sort all this really carefully.
Absolutely. And if you don't sort it right, maybe put it out on the wrong day. They might just leave it there with a note.
Seriously, they won't collect it.
Yep. A pretty clear message. Follow the rules.
That definitely encourages people to get it right and contributes to recycling too, I bet.
For sure. And thinking about infrastructure, public facilities often get mentioned. Public restrooms, for example.
Oh yeah, they're legendary. Spotless, often with high-tech features.
Right? Bidets, heated seats, sometimes even sounds to cover noise. And they're regularly cleaned and maintained, even in really busy places like train stations. It's quite something.
The consistency of that level of clean and public spaces is amazing. It says a lot about both the system and how people treat those spaces.
It definitely reflects that societal commitment to clean, comfortable shared areas.
So we've got individual habits, social norms, infrastructure, but community efforts seem to really weave it all together.
We really do. You often hear about neighborhood cleanup days. Residents get together maybe on a weekend morning and tidy up local streets, parks.
That reinforces that shared ownership idea right there at the local level.
Oh.
Building community too, probably.
And then you have those really visible examples, like the Japanese soccer fans.
Cleaning up the stadium after a match, even overseas.
Exactly. That got so much attention globally because it wasn't something they had to do. It was just a voluntary act of respect for the place, even after all the excitement or maybe disappointment of the game. It's a powerful symbol of that embedded value.
Okay, let's zoom back into the personal level. Daily habits are obviously crucial.
Well, regular home cleaning is common, often daily tidying. And the big one, almost universal, is taking your shoes off before going inside.
Which is just so practical when you think about it.
Totally.
It stops so much dirt from getting tracked into the house in the first place.
Yeah.
Makes keeping things clean inside much easier. Simple, but super effective.
And bathing culture is another piece. Public baths, the onsen, are still popular. But there are strict rules. You have to wash and rinse yourself thoroughly before you get into the shared bathwater.
Again, it's about keeping that shared resource clean for everyone else. Personal habit linked straight to thinking about the group.
Yeah, these daily things, they're not just about personal hygiene. They're ingrained behaviors that just support the whole culture of cleanliness.
And this seems to connect to broader things too, like environmental awareness.
Definitely. Those strict recycling rules aren't just about sorting. They're part of wider environmental policies. And urban planning often includes really well-maintained parks and green spaces, treating nature with that same respect for cleanliness.
We also see tech playing a part now too, right? Advanced cleaning robots, self-cleaning toilets.
Yeah, technology is used to support these existing values and systems. Smart city stuff, too, helping manage waste collection more efficiently, monitoring cleanliness.
And the media keeps reinforcing it.
Seems like it. You see cleanliness portrayed positively in anime, films, and there are public awareness campaigns, too. It keeps the message visible.
So all of this together really shapes how Japan is seen from the outside.
For sure. Visitors almost always comment on the cleanliness. It boosts the country's image, and frankly, it often makes tourists more mindful of their own habits while they're there. You sort of want to fit in.
Yeah, maybe some practices spread, like taking shoes off indoors is becoming more common elsewhere, or people get inspired by community cleanups.
Right, it shows how these deep cultural habits can actually have a tangible impact beyond borders through cultural exchange.
So when we step back and look at everything from, ancient Shinto ideas about purity and kids cleaning schools to super strict recycling, neighbors tidying parks together, and just taking your shoes off at the door, it's really clear, isn't it? Japan's cleanliness isn't down to just one thing.
Not at all.
It's this complex mix, this whole interwoven system: culture, habits, social expectations, rules, infrastructure. They all reinforce each other. It creates this collective mindset based on, responsibility and respect. Respect for spaces, respect for other people.
Yeah, it's fascinating how it all connects, how old beliefs link up with modern tech and just everyday routines, which maybe leads to a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. Given how interconnected all this is, what single piece do you think is maybe the most crucial? Is it the early education, the social pressure, the spiritual roots, Or maybe how they all weave together.
Or even how understanding this complex system might make you think differently about keeping spaces clean in your own community or maybe just your own home.
Something to chew on.
Definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive today.